Crimean Tatar leaders Ilmi Umerov and Akhtem Cheyghos are the first Ukrainian political prisoners that Russia has released in almost a year and a half. Yet over 50 Ukrainians remain in captivity in Russia or occupied Crimea, largely on politically motivated charges. One of those held in Russia is Oleh Sentsov, a Ukrainian film director who was sentenced to 20 years in prison on fabricated charges of plotting acts of terrorism in Crimea. His cousin Natalia Kaplan is one of many who tirelessly fight for his release.
Oleh
Sentsov was the first to be put behind bars. Well, it was their group, him, Alexander Kolchenko and Alexei Cherny. They are the first, and from then they caught so many more. The fact that they're releasing anyone is joyful. Every political prisoner released is a joy, but we see that they're putting away even more people.
There's an active community of people who fight for the release of Ukrainian political prisoners in Russia. And those who are freed keep fighting for the ones who are still behind bars, like Akhtem Cheyghos, who came to support the launch of the book about Oleh Sentsov, just hours after arriving back on Ukrainian soil. Sevil Musayeva, a Ukrainian and Crimean Tatar journalist, says that the book is another way to raise awareness of the captive Ukrainian filmmaker.
The book is important because it reminds everyone about Oleh Sentsov, and I really hope that it will be translated into English, so people will read it abroad. Ukraine will fight for every political prisoner, every citizen held hostage by the occupant party. That is the main message of this book, that no one and nothing is forgotten, and the struggle goes on.
This book, titled by the prisoner's name, Oleh Sentsov, tells about his life before the annexation of Crimea, his support of Ukraine's Euromaidan revolution, and his imprisonment by the Kremlin. Sentsov, an ethnic Russian who opposed the annexation, was sentenced to 20 years in prison in a trial that Amnesty International described as redolent of Stalinist-era show trials. Mustafa Dzhemilev, a leader of Crimean Tatar people, denies the charges against Sentsov.
It's not that he is a terrorist, because he was never a terrorist. Even the official charges brought against him are far from what we call terrorism. It's just that the Kremlin needs to make an example by punishing an ethnic Russian who is opposed to occupation.
Another part of the book describes Sentsov's work as a film director and includes some of the scripts to his movies. Alexander Gusev, a Ukrainian film critic, says that Sentsov is not only a hero for Ukrainians, but also an outstanding director whose movie Gamer signalized the current evolution of Ukrainian cinema.
It was a film in which, virtually for the first time, Ukrainian cinema caught up with Ukrainian objective reality. And it was a movie in which we heard this real expressive street language. And given the response to Sentsov's work abroad, even in the Russian filmmaking environment, the Rotterdam Festival, the festival in West Baden, we can say that this is a director of a completely world-class level.
The money from the book sales will go towards helping support Sentsov's family. He was a wage earner for his daughter and autistic son. And it is a reminder that Sentsov is also an imprisoned artist who cannot implement his creative potential behind bars. However, Akhtem Seytablayev, Sentsov's colleague director from Crimea, says that Oleh keeps writing in captivity.
I know, and we all know, that he is not there just doing nothing. Unfortunately, but it is so, he uses this time to write scripts. I know that he has already written 3 scripts at least, or even 5. I really hope that one day and very soon he will come back and make those scripts into movies.
Film directors from all over the world, human rights organizations and international filmmakers organizations all called for the release of Oleh Sentsov. Akhtem Cheyghos, who was just released and came to support the book about the prisoner, said that he will wait for Sentsov himself to sign a copy for him soon. This is Artur Kornienko for UATV.